Hey everyone, imagine this. You walk into any supermarket in America, and 70% of what you see, the cereals, the snacks, the sodas, the frozen pizzas, was deliberately engineered in a lab, not just to taste good, but to make you literally unable to stop eating it. And the same week that San Francisco filed a lawsuit against Coca-Cola, Pepsi, Kraft Heinz, General Mills, Kellogg's, Nestlé, Mars, Mondelēz, basically every giant food company you've ever heard of, claiming they've been doing to our food what big tobacco did to cigarettes. And they're not asking for a slap on the wrist. They want billions in damages, bans on marketing to kids, and forced reformulation of products. This could be the biggest public health fight since the war on smoking. Today, we're diving deep into what's actually in that lawsuit, why it terrifies big food, and whether it could completely change what's on your plate. Let's go. In 2024, the city of San Francisco dropped a 200-plus page bombshell lawsuit. They're suing 9 of the biggest food corporations on Earth for creating what they call addictive, disease-causing ultra-processed foods, and then lying about it for decades. The core accusation? These companies took techniques straight out of the tobacco industry playbook. Yes, the same ones Philip Morris used. Hired the same scientists and used them to design foods that hijack your brain's reward system so you keep eating even when you're full. And here's the stat that should make your blood run cold. Ultra-processed foods now make up almost 70% of the average American kid's diet and 58 to 60% of the average adult's. We are literally raising an entire generation on lab-made addiction. The city says this isn't an accident. It's the business model. First, let's be crystal clear what we're talking about. The scientific definition comes from the NOVA classification, the one used by Harvard, the WHO, the Lancet, everyone who's serious. Ultra-processed foods aren't just junk food. They're industrial formulations that usually contain ingredients you'd never find in a home kitchen. Hydrogenated oils, high-fructose corn syrup, protein isolates, artificial flavors, emulsifiers, colorants, and something called flavor enhancers that light up your brain like cocaine does in lab rats. They're designed with the perfect bliss point, the exact ratio of sugar, fat, and salt that makes you crave more. They melt in your mouth on purpose so your brain doesn't register you've eaten calories. That's called vanishing caloric density. You can eat an entire family-sized bag and still feel hungry 10 minutes later. And the science is brutal. A randomized controlled trial in cell metabolism had people eat either ultra-processed or minimally processed diets with the same calories, protein, fat, etc. The ultra-processed group ate 500 extra calories a day automatically and gained weight fast. The whole food group lost weight. Same nutrients, totally different outcome. That's not willpower. That's engineering. Here's the part that made my jaw drop when I read the lawsuit. In the 1980s and 90s, the big tobacco companies, Philip Morris, R.J. Reynolds, quietly bought up huge chunks of the food industry, Kraft, Nabisco, General Foods. They didn't just bring money. They brought their addiction scientists. Internal memos that came out in tobacco litigation show these guys literally talking about applying nicotine research to food. They studied the bliss point, how fast a chip dissolves, how to layer flavors so you get a dopamine hit every second. One former Philip Morris scientist said on record, "We took the same principles we used for cigarettes and used them on cookies." San Francisco's lawsuit quotes these memos directly. They're saying, you knew exactly what you were doing. The real-world results of ultra-processed food consumption are horrifying, leading to a public health crisis. Type 2 diabetes in children, once almost unheard of, is now a common diagnosis, and non-alcoholic fatty liver disease is appearing in 10-year-olds. Meta-analyses link ultra-processed foods to 32 different health outcomes, including heart disease, depression, multiple cancers, and early death. These foods cause inflammation, disrupt the gut microbiome, spike insulin, and even alter brain structure in children. A pediatrician in San Francisco noted diagnosing 12-year-olds with diseases typically seen in 60-year-olds, calling it a crime scene. San Francisco's lawsuit argues that these foods are not just bad, but racist and classist by design, highlighting a significant inequality. In the wealthiest zip codes, life expectancy is 87, while in Black and Latino neighborhoods, it's 66 to 70, a 16-year difference in the same city. These communities are saturated with cheap ultra-processed food and targeted ads, while fresh produce is scarce and expensive. The city calls this environmental injustice, arguing companies knowingly shorten lives in poor and minority communities to sell more products. San Francisco isn't seeking to ban products, but rather to stop marketing to kids, end deceptive health claims, and seek restitution for healthcare costs. They also want funding for honest public education campaigns and potentially forced reformulation for less addictive versions of foods. This approach is likened to the Tobacco Master Settlement Agreement, but applied to the food industry. The food industry will fight back with arguments of personal responsibility and everything in moderation, mirroring tobacco's playbook. However, the science supporting this lawsuit is far stronger than in early tobacco days, with randomized trials, brain scans, and internal documents. San Francisco alone spends hundreds of millions annually treating preventable diseases, making the financial stakes incredibly high. If they succeed, even partially, it could trigger a domino effect across the country, leading to warning labels, marketing bans, and school lunch reform. We've been misled for decades into believing obesity and diabetes are personal failures, when companies deliberately stacked the deck with addiction science. San Francisco is finally exposing the truth, and a win could mean a completely different food world for our children. Hit that like button if you think this lawsuit is long overdue, and drop a comment with the ultra-processed food you're most addicted to. Subscribe and turn on notifications, because this case is moving fast, and I'll keep you updated every step of the way. We're living through a potential turning point in how America eats. Don't miss it. I'll see you in the next one.